Hey everyone, we are back, Arnold and Rotana from the new ABC for the weekly show, and we have the question of the day. What difficulty have you experienced in questioning? And this life skill questioning actually is very much related to another one, life skill listening, because these days we ask a lot of questions and we also here to listen to people. But first, what is your experience, Arnold, with this life skill?
Well, I think a lot of people are kind of shy or maybe don't have the courage to ask questions, especially not in public or in settings where there are more people together, that
Mm-hmm.
they experience that like, ooh, I'm not going to ask that question because maybe people will find it a stupid question or not a good question or whatever. Yeah. So, well, it is really crucial to ask questions for things which you don't understand yourself.
Yeah.
And that relates to what we just about vulnerability is, well, just ask a question if you don't understand it, or say I don't know or I don't understand, which is really, really crucial for your own learning.
Yeah.
That's one part of it. The other part of it is like, don't assume that everyone what the speaker is telling you that is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only way things are. That is the only way things should be perceived. There are always different angles. There are always different points of opinion. There are always different perspectives. But if you don't ask, you think that is the only perspective.
Yeah, yeah. So widen your perspective and have this think critically together. That's it.
Yeah, but it's really, really, really crucial because we are so educated and
Yeah.
brought up that there's only one opinion and it's the right opinion. That's where in all the rating they got the multiple choice. There's only one right answer. And
Mm.
especially in today's extremely exponential change and growth in our society, there's not one answer.
Yeah.
There might be very different approaches, different answers, also the right approach. But if you don't ask, you don't know.
That's it. At the same time, it's about framing a great question because that's how you focus better, and also about asking why all the time, like children. In that way, you challenge the statu quo. You can innovate too, or start figuring this out for a big problem in the world. I don't know, but that's how the Uber or any game-changing startup are starting with, by asking why this, why that. Um, so that's what I'm noticing.
Absolutely.
So let's move talking about questioning because you were part of some events this week in Budapest. The first one was with the Singularity University. So could you say more about this
Yeah,
meetup?
I attended this event in order to, well, number one, have a more clear idea about they're launching something like a summer camp,
Yeah.
and there's a competition in order to become part of that. So I wanted to know more what it's all about, what's going to happen, and is that, well, of value to what we do at this point in time. And yeah, what I found out is that I think it's not, well, we're at the stage where I think we're much further ahead,
Mm-hmm.
and we know very well what we want and what we need. So in that way, it's not really timely for us. At the same time, I learned a lot of things about what's happening in the Singularity University is all about exponential technology, and exponential means really growing, not just with a few percent, but 10x, 100x times things. And they're discussing these things, like, for instance, I don't know whether it was, I heard it on Monday, or an article or something like, well, within 5 years, whatever, all the cars will be self-driving cars. And
Mm-hmm.
not only the cars, but also the trucks. So imagine that we'll have tens of thousands of truck drivers who have no jobs. Yeah, so what's
Yeah.
going to happen with that? So that is an exponential change, and what's going to happen. So I learned a lot. Like, okay, wow, yeah. So that means a thing which people think, oh, that's kind of interesting, these self-driving cars, because I can talk with you, or even drink coffee in the car, or reading, or doing a Google Hangout with someone in the car. But yeah,
Yeah,
because
on the phone.
the road. But at the same time, there's a whole population which is going to lose their job. So it was like,
That's it.
yeah, oh, okay, well, there are, well, I would say shadow sides to that kind of approach. So that's what I learned.
Yeah, and that's why we say we suggest that how we can help these people, blue collar, white collar, doesn't matter the categories, but who are with these realities more and more of automation, robots, and artificial intelligence, how they can upskill or reskill themselves. So that's what we suggest, because that's what we have now. That's what is left. How you can develop your creativity, how you can, well, you send a tweet about that too with this video of Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
You have already this robot who is working and learning from non-routine tasks and even cognitive tasks. So it's here. It's not in 10 years or 10 weeks. It's here already.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then that is crucial for people to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. So you went also to another meetup, 2 days ago, something like this.
Yeah,
the office.
StretchCon meetup gave me the opportunity to visit the headquarters of Prezi, the most famous Hungarian startup, which produces presentation software, kind of I don't know whether they call themselves, but it's kind of a competitor to PowerPoint. And so that was nice. And there was a guy who had a presentation about basically about the new worker, what we call the new worker realities, is how what is crucial if you're being a new worker. And he called it T-shaped approach, well, what we call a generalist or multidisciplinary thinking in our chart. He also focused that, well, it's really the social skills which determine whether you're successful, because we're all connected. You work in global teams, so and you need to be sensitive to different cultures and whatever. So that was that. And another presentation was around some crazy folks who recently did visit Silicon Valley. So they went to Facebook, they went to Google, they went to Pinterest. On Apple, they didn't get farther than the reception area, because Apple is very secretive, and they don't have tours. Whereas all the other guys, they have tours, and you can take pictures, and no problem. So it is kind of interesting how they expressed how they tasted, I would say, the culture of companies just by having these visits. So that was really very nice.
Okay. Yeah, culture is, you can feel that by what people are doing, interacting, but also when you're there. Simple as that.
Yeah, but the simple thing what they said is that there was in Facebook, apparently they have a kind of an open office space. I think they said there was something like 2,000 people in an open office setting. So you can imagine what that is like, and the noise and whatever. But they said that Mark Zuckerberg just had a table which was just as big as anybody else's table, and he was sitting in exactly the same space. So I find that quite interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we mean also by being equal partner, in doing, but also with these facilities too. Yeah.
And being an example, which is extremely important, being a role model, what we had discussed before. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we also did, before we share our work for this week, we also can mention that we have 2 events, one tomorrow on Internet of Things. We were talking about connectedness, So Jorge Barba from Mexico, who is an innovation insurgent, will do this live webinar with you as a host tomorrow, so at 4 p.m. Central Europe time. Please join us by sending us an email at contact@thenewabc.net, or just ping us at the new ABC on Twitter. We share with you the link for joining the public hangout, of course. And we will have a meetup with you again, and Tamas as a host this Monday in Budapest. What will be the topics of that, Arnold?
Well, we have 2 topics, basically. Nora Matisse, she's a very famous DJ and a friend of ours and an ambassador, and she's also a fashion designer, so a very talented young lady, and she will share about her experience, how even something very creative like music education, educated to become a producer, she said, which is really so old-fashioned that she totally dislikes it, which is quite interesting, because we would think, well, that is very creative and that must be really cool. she really didn't like it. So she will share her experiences and how things should be done differently. And secondly, I will discuss, because in the last actually this year, we've seen many research about the need to bridge the skills gap and what skills are needed. So I will give an overview of what kind of skills are people looking for, and especially why that's needed. Like you already mentioned before, Rotana, about the robots and AI and whatever. So that is really, again, a crucial discussion for now. It's not a future discussion. It's a discussion what we call now proofing. Yeah? You need those skills now, and you really, if you're not good at those skills, well, I think you have a problem. So you really need to work on that. But that's why we are here for. That's what the new ABC is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are already discussing some possibilities with big corporations around how we can upskill their workers, employees, entrepreneurs, even people who are looking for jobs. And we have even designed a global upskilling program for that, you and me. So that's what we are discussing currently. We will say more later when we have a project who will be launched. What else could you share, Arnold? Yeah, we are also get in touch more and more with investors, clearly, from different parts of the world. So that's what we have done this week, basically seeing where is the fit and where we can just send our business plan to them and see what are the possibilities.
Yeah, and already some good news that some investors have already said that they will seriously look into our material. So that is already quite encouraging.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, we also are approaching large corporations to talk about the upskilling need and how we could help in that area. So we are getting in touch, especially with people who are also partners in the Upskill America program, which makes it a little bit easier for us to connect because we're also a partner there.
Yeah.
But, well, it's like starting a sales cycle. It's hard work. It's a lot of research. It's a lot of sending mails, reminding people. But we already see that it's starting to work. That's the good news.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're doing that via email, via social media, and we also love to build, to co-create. We have done this week also work with Anna Zipos on bootcamp. Could you share more about that, Arnold?
Yeah, we really are exploring multiple, I would say, ventures in or projects to help our young folks. And one of the most critical skills is creativity and how to use your creativity and how to grow it and how to sustain it. And Anna and Barbara, they have very huge research in learning by doing projects, physically making things out of recycled materials and working with youth all over Europe. And we're happy to co-create with them what we call a co-creation bootcamp, where hopefully we can all over the world organize these bootcamps where people get to something in like a week, really get in touch with their own creativity. Because in essence, we think it's only painters or artists or whatever who are creative, but we are all creative. Everybody is creative.
Absolutely.
But we just need to get in touch with that innate quality again. And that's what we want to help grow and stimulate in those boot camps, but not only in the boot camps, in an ongoing way.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, it's like the love for learning is a lifelong skill. So for creativity is the same.
Yeah, and to make it full circle, when you're explaining about the robots, well, clearly a robot is not creative yet. So that I think is one of the fundamentals in which human beings can have an added value versus a robot. That is using your creativity.
Yeah, simple as that. But yeah, that's well pointed, Arnold. So that was it for this episode 26, and we'll be back next week. Of course, join us, as we say, tomorrow for the webinar, and if you're in Budapest on Monday. And again, have a great weekend and keep a learning life skill.
Bye.
Bye.